Hey, what's poppin' everybody? So, today I thought I'd bring a brand new series to the channel, and this series is going to be all about taking a look at some of the existing Figuarts that we have and how we would improve them for their 2.0 releases or just in general. So with that said, the very first episode, we're going to be kicking things off with Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta. Alright, so right off the bat, that brings me to the very first thing I would change upon this figure's reissue or re-release. The name on the box. Obviously, we're not calling it this anymore. It's Super Saiyan Blue, SSB, get with the program. But before we start getting into the nitty-gritty of what else would need to change, let's at least take a look at what they did well with this figure. So, my first point here is regarding his colors. I just love the look of the new suit. I wish they kept it around in the anime a bit longer. Who knows, maybe it'll be making a return at some point. But I think that, it looks on point. Very anime accurate. I love the shading. It's not just a drab gray that they slapped on there for the heck of it, So I think that they deserve that. Even the logo here from Weez came out pretty clean. I think the only thing I would change in terms of colors here on him is this darker, pale, mustardy color on the actual chest plate. And another couple of things I'm glad they threw in for this release are the hands that look like this. I mean, it's, not a huge deal, but it could be used for so many different articulated poses, so I'm glad that they gave us this. And secondly, I'm glad that they finally gave us a yelling face. Believe it or not, the premium color Super Saiyan Vegeta did not come with a yelling face. It had a stern face, a crooked smile face, shout out to J. Cole, and a teeth gritting face, but it didn't have one of these, so I'm glad that they gave us this. Alright, now, so with regard to what we can change and improve upon this figure for its re-release, there's a couple of things. First off, just like every villain anti-hero in the Dragon Ball franchise, we need the inclusion of crossed arms, especially if you're gonna have the dude with crossed arms shown on the box without actual crossed arms. Secondly, we need an updated hair and body sculpt. I mean, I like what they did at first with the, slimmer thighs, Dragon Ball Super art style translated into this action figure, but when we compare it to our 2.0 rendition of Vegeta right here, it doesn't stand up very well. Now, I do hope they don't just default to using this mold for everything, because I still stand by this being a rendition of Super Vegeta. And I mean, just from the hair sculpt and the bulky deltoids and stuff alone. So with that said, I know it's asking a lot for Tamashii to provide us with a brand new Vegeta sculpt, but they keep doing it for Goku to some extent, so why not give this guy the same treatment? My next point, like I said, the hair sculpt. The 1.0 hair sculpt was very basic in terms of having a Vegeta hair sculpt. It was good enough for what it was at the time, then things evolved. Now, if you're wondering why I had this guy in this not-so-super-esque pose, it's because I wanted to highlight an issue with the neck joint. Oftentimes, we love to use this face as a power-up face as well. And I mean, it works up until you get him kind of screaming, right? Looking up as he does in some of the artwork for Super. And I'm not a big fan of the skinniness of his neck. It just looks like there's too much of a gap right in here. Now, something else I'm always wondering about is which suit are they going to choose? Because obviously, if you're following the anime, spoiler alert, he's not wearing this armor anymore. He is wearing his old school armor, which fortunately, right now, you can substitute premium Vegeta's body for to get that look. But again, obviously when you're comparing it to the 2.0 lineup, it doesn't hold a candle. And now speaking of 2.0, I think the biggest thing we need for this guy too is more articulation. Because with this pose right here, I tried to recreate Vegeta's favorite fighting stance. And while I did an okay job, I don't think that all the blame is on me. I think some of it's on the articulation with this figure too. I mean, you walk into a room and you see this guy on a shelf like this, depending on the angle you see him at, you're kind of wondering what's he doing? Is he squatting? Is there sand in his eye or something like that? And I mean, just to give you an idea of how a newly improved, articulated, colored Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta would look, here's my attempt to show you that. So I mean, if Vegeta was suffering from some kind of giraffe dimorphism, that's the look you would go for. But I mean, it looks pretty cool. Aside from the bulky deltoids there that go with Super Vegeta form, I think that we need this. It's integral to the Dragon Ball Super franchise as of now. Especially for those hardcore Vegeta fanboys who want to recreate him beating down on Goku Black. You can't do that without a proper Vegeta Super Saiyan Blue reissue. And going back to my point about the whole neck gap thing, even with this smaller head, bigger ball joint combo, this neck actually looks more proportional to this head, I think, than the original Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta body. just before we end off the episode here, this little segment, Why'd You Do It, is just about why Tamashii chose to make the choices they made regarding this figure that are somewhat questionable. Now the first, I don't really have a problem with anymore because it's grown on me, but people have been wondering why the sheen and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta's here versus the shading and matteness of Goku's. To me, I think it's solely because Tamashii, for one, doesn't really listen to the Western market as much, and two, Goku's their flagship guy. They're always going to give him a more kind of premium treatment over the rest of the characters, and I think they were just using Vegeta as a test dummy. Now two, why did they not include crossed arms? I believe this is because this was a web exclusive, meaning that for them to produce an extra accessory in the form of crossed arms and sell it in a limited quantity would mean they might actually lose money because they cannot produce as many of this figure over time as they would be able to for a normal release. So guys, those were my thoughts on Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta. This has been episode 1 of How Do We Fix Our Figuarts, and I'm really curious to hear everyone's thoughts or their take on how you would actually make improvements to this figure for an upcoming re-release. Oh, and before I forget, if you actually made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Let me know if you guys want me to talk about this Yamcha figure, because I did get him a couple days ago, and I know that he actually has a following fan base out there. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 1 of How to Fix Our Figarts. Hope to see you guys on episode 2. Till then, see you next time. Peace.